Hello, welcome back to the radio room. Got a FT101 on the bench. No B, E, or nothing on this one. This is an older one. Came in here saying there's something wrong with the 80 meter band. Don't know if that's receive, transmit, not receiving. I have no idea. So, figured we would just kind of see what it did. I do have an antenna hooked up to it. I do have the lithium bulb tester hooked up to just in case there's anything wrong with it, such as a short or something. We'll start it on the dim bulb. But basically, just kind of see if it receives at this juncture. See if it comes on. I did replace the power cable going to it, power cord. I was trying to fix some spots where the jacket had gotten broke, and shortening up the cable and changing the plug on the end of it. But the more I was working on it, the more insulation was just falling off. So I just I built a new power cable for it. So let's see if anything's going on with this thing. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of split the screen here. I got the dim bulb tester there, and you can see the radio in the upper right hand corner. So before I do anything, I want to make sure everything's turned off and make sure that it is in PTT so it doesn't start transmitting as soon as it gets power. And let's give it some. Oh, that's just interesting. So as soon as I turned the power on, the radio came on. The power switch, I guess, does not do anything. So if it's plugged in, it's got power. Got very little. I'm just going to see if the heaters. Whoa. We got problems. As soon as you try to turn the heaters on, the bulbs go very bright. I'm sure y'all seen that. So yeah, that's a problem. Okay, so let's just hold on a minute. Let's just kind of ignore what I just said. I'm running two 40-watt bulbs in this, and they're in series with each other, or parallel with each other. So you get basically an 80-watt total capacity through the bulbs before you're literally splitting the voltage into between the radio and the bulbs. That causes a voltage drop to the radio. After making the video here, and I'm just going to leave this in here before we get on with the rest of the video. So basically anything about the heaters being shorted out, let's ignore that. What I almost alluded to it because it was kind of running through my head, but what's going on is that when I turn the heaters on, there's an instant increase in current because the heaters are cold. It's the same theory in which the dim bulb tester works. That initial current through there drops the voltage. That's why the radio turned off. That's why the pilot lamp's turned off. And the voltage dropped low enough that now nothing's even working right. So what happened is when I turn the heater on, it's just exceeding the capability of the dim bulb tester to work correctly. The voltage to the radio drops so much it doesn't work. The bulbs are taking all the power. It's not a short. It's just the current increases enough that the dim bulb tester can't work right. If I had larger bulbs in it and would allow higher amperage to run through the bulbs without reducing the voltage, everything would be fine. Just to give you an example of that, I'm going to turn this back on and show you what I'm talking about before we carry on with the video. So anything else in the video that I say about the heaters being shorted, let's just ignore that. Okay, so the radio's on. before shuts off, everything, the bulbs go bright, and they're actually getting dimmer, and the lights are trying to come back on. If I sat here long enough, they might warm up, but it's still working. If there was a short, we'd already know it by now. And I did pull the top. I looked down at the tubes inside. Let me see if I can get this so you guys can see it as well. Careful of the shaking. So I'm not sure if you guys can see down in there or not. Let me shadow this a little bit more. But you can see the filaments are glowing. And I'm not sure if you can see the one on the driver, but it is glowing. The heaters are working. So, yeah, there's not a heater short. I just forgot to take into account the fact of I only have 40 watt bulbs in there. This DEM bulb tester set up more for receivers and not ones that are going to have a sudden parallel current of having 3 heaters going, 2 of them on some fairly decent tubes. So let's get back to the video. Noise markers off. Attenuate doesn't do much. Let's try putting the marker in. Well, I guess plenty of marker. Seeing any indication on the meter. Let me let me turn this thing off. That's gonna have to be checked. I don't like a radio that doesn't have a power switch on it, so I'm going to go ahead and kill the power. And let me get a somewhat of a signal generator hooked up to the back of it, and we'll check it on a couple of frequencies. I do want to put it on 80 while we're doing that. So I'm going to pause, get the signal generator, the Tiny SA hooked up to it, and we'll see if we can get some signals in that way. Okay, I've got the Tiny SA hooked up to it for signal generator. I'm gonna go ahead and restart this in current limiting. This thing's there's things with this thing. Okay, so we are doing. Bulbs are pretty dim. I'm on 80 meters. I'm going to try and do 3.8, so it should be right about somewhere in there-ish. I'm off current limiting. And I'm going to turn the signal generator on. I got this is negative 76 dBm, which should be a less than an S9. Probably about S7. And we got a 800 kilohertz. 800 hertz tone going. So we might have to find the signal, but let's see if we can get anything into it. So the signal generator's on. So you can't hear it right there. We should be able to hear a tone. I'm going to turn the input up in a little bit. This should be a S9 signal. I'm on AM right now. Wow, you can just barely hear that. Do have a short run of coax that's between the two. I don't think that should be attenuating it that much. I mean, you can barely hear that. I'm not even sure y'all can hear that. That's full volume. Let me go back to lower sideband. I'm going to turn the modulation off. So we just listen for the signal in lower sideband. That's upper sideband. So that should be an S9 signal. Let's go back to AM. Put the modulation back on it. Can't hardly hear it. That should be just blasting out of there. So let me turn this off for a second. I'm going to go to, let's go to a 40 meter frequency. You know, the crackle, when I do that, it's pretty loud. So there's definitely some gain in the system here, but so let's go to a 40 meter frequency. 7.2 megahertz. And we're on. Wow, I can barely hear that there too. I am going to try one thing real quick. I'm going to take the short piece of coax I have out of line, just make sure maybe that one piece of coax isn't bad. And then we'll try this again. Let me just take that out of line real quick and connect the Tiny SA basically straight up to the back. go over to current limit. That was kind of noisy. Just for unhooking an antenna. That's... Yeah, I'm gonna have to check some stuff here. I know this sounds weird, but I'm hooking this up back here, and I have the coax that I had that's going over to the antenna system, and I'm touching the well, I'm screwing on the connector onto the back of the antenna, and my finger was kind of brushing up against the connector for the outdoor antenna. And I was like, oh, well, there's a little piece of wire sticking out of my connector or something, poking me. But no, I'm actually feeling voltage when I'm touching the connector, and I'm thinking we got a hot chassis here. I'm really thinking we got a hot chassis on this radio. So we got some problems. Let me do something here. Let me do something here. Cause see, my antenna system is basically grounded. Just gonna check this real quick. So I'm not getting any voltage right there. Sorry about my arm being right in there. I'm touching the collar of the microphone jack, and I'm just... Well, I'll show you what I'm doing. Touching that, and I'm just running my back of my knuckle against that, the metal right there, and I have voltage between there. Almost feels like a DC. No, that's AC. I can feel the AC in it. Just trying to see what kind of voltage I had between there. Doesn't last long. This thing's got some problems. Let's try putting a signal back into this thing. if you can hear that, we do have some static there. It's very low. And that should be an S9 signal. I mean, we should be hearing that 800 hertz tone like there's no tomorrow. So, I think we got bigger problems than just, let's try another band. Let's try 14.2. Same signal level. Let me go back to 40. I didn't do pre-select on that other one. So let me go back to 7.2. That doesn't appear that I'm getting anything. Let me do something here. I'm going to set this back at 17.2 meg. Make sure we got some modulation. That should work. Oh, must be on 40 meters. Going back to AM. Still seems down. Let's go back to 20. Now let's go to 15. Let's try 21. 275. There it is. But that does not sound like an S9 signal. Seems like we're down on receive pretty much everywhere. Plus some other problems. Of course, this is dirty. You know, let me turn this off for a moment. want to check something on this particular radio. Sometimes, let me think here. Turn the deal off. Okay. One thing I do want to check is this: are we still hot even with? Well, the power's going to it. It was off, so we shouldn't be hot. On the back here, there's a fuse bulb. Let me see what it looks like. Well, if it's any good, it's barely hanging in there. Let me check continuity on this little guy. There's a bulb. Just plugs into the back of the radio. It's basically a fuse for your receive. If you get way too strong of a signal, the fuse burns out. The bulb burns out. So let me check to see if this has continuity through it. It does not. So I'll set this up here so you guys can see it. And I'm just checking, between the tip there and the side. Makes it easier to hold. We should have continuity between there. And we got nothing. So, the receive, I can guarantee you is down because this isn't any good. As far as don't turn the heaters on because there's a direct short somewhere, that's going to take some exploration. Why is it I get a burn, little electrical current running through my finger when I'm touching the chassis and something that's grounded? Definitely need to figure that one out. So, yeah. We're going to figure out what's going on here. I'm glad I had the dim bulb on that because when I turned the heaters on, they went very bright. And I really don't think they should have stayed that bright. Just give you. We got to figure out what's up with that power button. Just give you an idea here. So, those are like barely glowing. I turn the heater on, and the bulbs go to full brightness, and the radio basically turns off. Now, I just don't think that the heater should be pulling that much current through there. I wouldn't think so. I might have to, I really don't see, we do have reduced voltage going to the radio right now, which I suppose could keep the heaters drawing a little bit more current because they're not heating as fast. But I don't know if it should make them that bright. It just doesn't seem right. I'm more concerned about why in the world the chassis got voltage on it. Probably a bad capacitor, maybe a leaky capacitor. I'm just kind of going through my head in the parts of the schematic I've looked at. There is some capacitors that do come off pretty much straight from the power cord. I think they're for kind of like some noise filtering on the AC input. So, yeah. We're going to have to check that out. And I'll take a look at the schematic a little bit, but this guy's got some issues. We're definitely going to have to figure out some stuff on this guy because it is not working right. This, I think, is our receive problem. I have to get another one of those. I don't think I have one. 16 volt, 0.15 amp. So, looks like this one's got a bit of work on it too. Power switch does nothing at all. So we gotta figure out what's going on with that. I really don't think the heater should do that. I really don't want to flip that switch on without the current limiting. I just don't think it should drop that much voltage, even when they're working normally. So I might try that on the other one. Turn it on and flip the heaters on just to see what happens with the other one sometime. See if it draws it down when it's in current limiting or not. But yeah, this one's gonna need some work as well. This will fix the receive, I have a feeling, a lot. Definitely need to clean up the voltage, or the volume control, fix the power switch, find out why that gives you a tingle when you're touching the chassis and something else. And then maybe we can figure out if there is a problem on 80, but right now, just not really trusting this thing until we go through it a little bit more to find out what's going on. So, all right, thanks for stopping by the radio room. Just a quick taking a look at the FT101 that joined some space here on the workbench. And we'll see you next time. Bye for now.